Hey everyone, and welcome to this chat with another member of our great Azure and Power Platform community here in Sydney. Today I'm joined by Somy. I'm not going to steal her thunder and introduce her, so I'm going to pass over to Somy to introduce herself. Hey Somy, over to you.
Thanks, Simon. Hello everybody, my name is Somy Ayazi. I'm a development consultant with Telestra Purple, and we are here today to have a little chat about Serverless Day.
Okay, great, Somy. Good to hear from you and good to see you again. It's been a while. So like you said just there in the intro, we're here to have a bit of a chat about your ANZ Serverless Days session that you've got in the schedule this year. Can you tell us a bit about the topic and what it's going to cover?
So the topic that I'm going to cover this year is mainly about AI and what services AI can provide to the businesses. And this year I mainly focus on what AI brought to Power Platform and what feature we can use without actually using any code or having a technical knowledge to be able to use the feature that it has to provide.
Yeah, it's an interesting space, the sort of no code, low code solutions at the moment. So, you know, Azure and Power Platform kind of have that intersection point with Power Automate Flow and Logic Apps sharing some similarities. So if you've worked with either of those tools, you'd be familiar with their capabilities. You're talking about AI Builder specifically on Power Platform, aren't you, at the event this year?
Yes, I am. So my goal was to see what is the easiest way to be able to create something and maybe automate a process without having to write lots of line of code and having to know what is behind the scene and what the engine is. I just wanted to be able to get on it and be able to write and drive something out of it. So my goal is to focus on low code, no code solution and see what we can get out of it. And then there's always a way to customize if you want to further down the line.
And I guess, you know, to your point, that space of being able to get in and solve the problem without having to first reinvent the universe by writing lots of boilerplate code or lots of integration code is a real advantage of this space. Yeah. I did want to ask you, you know, if we think more broadly about serverless in the sphere of both, you know, Azure and Power Platform, I mean, what do you see maybe beyond just that removal of effort of implementation? What do you see as some of the other benefits that developers might get out of working with Azure Serverless or Power Platform?
Well, to tell you the truth, this is I got to the benefit that I had personally was I was away from development for quite some time and I wanted to get back on it. And the first thing, I was really interested in AI and machine learning. And for me to be able to quickly get back on track and start building something, it was really challenging. But when I started learning about AI, I saw how easy it is to be able to use those features. These are a bunch of REST API and you don't need to know anything about the background and the underlying infrastructure of it. So it was really easy for me to use the features. The cognitive services, it has lots of services regarding to the vision, speech, and language. So you can come up with the problem and you can solve that problem using those services. There were lots of documentation in Microsoft website that I could easily follow through, and there were easy steps to follow through without knowing anything about the code, although I have the development background as well. But it was easy for me to set those up. The good thing was you don't need to know anything about infrastructure. It's actually serverless. You just need to call the API. The service is available at your reach. You just need to call it, use it, and then that service goes back offline. So it was really easy for me to start using those functions and features, and I could come up with different type of prototype, and I could learn AI, and I could get back on development quite so easily. Okay. So I would say it is very easy because back in the days when you wanted to create something, you had to think about infrastructure, you had to think about VMs, you had to think about the development environment that you want to build stuff, and then you have to think about how you're going to connect these bits and pieces. But I guess with the Azure Serverless APIs, you can kind of get to the end point. You know what you're going to do. There are services available to you. You just need to pick and grab the one that you need and start building without being worried about how it's been set up, who is going to take care of the security, how these things are going to talk to each other. So it was very easy for me to just focus on the things that I wanted to focus and get the benefit out of it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's having, like yourself, been in this space for a fairly long time, it is interesting to see how much easier it is to stand up a very simple proof of concept or idea or an MVP and then iterate on that using this sort of technology. You and I have worked together previously on that sort of space, so it's really great to be able to quickly try ideas without having to worry about that kind of early stage, where we're going to host it, how's it going to run, if this thing actually turns out to be successful, how are we going to scale it. A lot of those sorts of underlying challenges have been taken care of for us by the platform that's Azure, or in the case of Power Platform, the underlying tech that Power Platform runs on, which let's face it, is going to be Azure as well. All right, awesome. Look, we're only going to have a quick chat today. Somy, I really appreciate you joining me here. I look forward to seeing your session at ANZ Serverless Days this year, and let's chat again soon.
Sure, definitely. Nice seeing you, Simon. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.